Good. Haha. Right. Now we're cooking on gas. So I say to my kids. Yes. Ta-da! Okay, guys, are you okay? Mila, are you okay? Mila? You guys okay? Daddy, you were there? Okay, I'll start now then. Right. I put it on about 10 minutes ago. Everything. I put everything on 10 minutes ago in the Arga. All right. Good luck. Sorry, guys. Domestic enjoyment. Right. I'm going to turn the music up, but let me know if it sounds really tinny and whether it would be better just to switch it off. How does it sound to you? It's okay?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah? If it gets annoying, let me know. I can always turn it off. It's hard to know how they come through. Chris, I need to talk to you about adding music to Zoom because I've been trying, but now when I do add it straight through to Zoom, like connect it through Zoom, I lose my audio completely. So I really want to be able to do that anyway. I'll talk to you because I know you're an expert on all of that at some point. Okay, so anybody got any injuries or problems I need to be aware of?
No.
Everyone good? Good. Okay. Well, welcome, Bev. Bev's from my David Lloyd class, so she's going to join us for this lockdown period. So you're with 3 or 4 of my good, loyal regulars that stick by me through thick and thin, you guys. So I really appreciate it so much. Thank you. And hopefully we'll all be back together again soon. Okay, so let's start by lying down as always on our mats, and we'll just take that moment to just, certainly I need to take a few deep breaths and just let all thoughts of the day just begin to ease. Just allowing the breath to rise and fall in the body through that inhale, that exhale. And just beginning to really tune into the sensations of the body. Noticing here where your skin touches the mat, whether tightness or tension is being held in the body, whether you can soften, release in the hips, the spine, the shoulders and the jaw and the forehead. And then as the body begins to relax and release into your mat, you can just tune into that breath and just notice at the beginning how the breath will unconsciously shift and change into a new state just when you start to relax. So even without you consciously changing the breath, it will be changing once you start to relax. So just notice how relaxing affects your breath. And then just see if you can really consciously shift the breath into a different rhythm. Breathing more fully and more deeply, slowing the breath down. I like to count heartbeats as I inhale and count heartbeats as I exhale. Just trying to make that exhale last maybe a heartbeat longer than the inhale. Really enjoying a longer breath than you would normally do in your natural state. Do you need something, Mila? And then also just shifting into your yoga breathing. So starting that breath down in the belly and then drawing it up through the rib cage, up into the chest. And then exhaling from chest, from rib cage, from belly. And again, breathing into the belly, into the ribs, into the chest. Exhaling chest and rib cage and belly. Just taking a couple more full rounds of breath like that. And then just softly releasing that conscious breath and just noticing now how the body's natural breathing sits in the body. Just notice if it's changed since you first lay on your mat. Just observe the natural rhythm of breath. Great. So we'll just start with a few warm-up stretches. So we're in week 1 of a new sequence. We'll be following this sequence through lockdown. Just building on it each week. But we'll just start taking the moment in week 1 always just to reconnect to the very basic aspects of the yoga practice. So I always like to use week 1 to just really ground down into my alignment and the quality of my breathing. I'm not worrying so much about that vinyasa, that idea of flow or keeping the breath and the movement of exact duration and getting into that meditation. Just a little bit more concerned with getting deep into my poses, challenging, pushing the posture a little more, and also just really focusing on the quality of my breath with each breath I take. Well, let's take the arms wide and drop the knees to the right, turn the head to the left, and just enjoy a spinal twist, maybe a crack or two in the spine as you go into that rotation and really reaching the fingertips away and breathing into the rib cage as you expand. And then let's pull the belly in to bring the knees up, taking them over the other way and allowing the spine to twist and open on the opposite side. And then bringing the knees up again and setting the feet flat to the floor. Let's cross that right ankle over the left knee and pull the left knee into the chest. Just allowing the hips to rock a little from side to side and releasing tightness through the glute and hip. And then we'll extend the right leg up towards the ceiling, placing the left foot down, stretching into the hamstring. So as well as pressing the heel away, trying to soften the hips down into the floor. There may be a tendency to want to be lifting the hips slightly, so just relaxing the sacrum back down to the mat, pressing the heel away from you. And then we'll release and we'll change sides. So crossing left ankle over right knee, pulling that right knee in, squeezing the left knee away, softening through the hips and glutes. Just finding the breath there. And then hamstring stretch, left leg extends up, and again, as well as extending up and away through the legs, softening the hips down to the floor. Feeling that movement in 2 directions. And then we'll release. And we'll take happy baby pose, just catching the outsides of your feet, dropping your knees into your armpits. Just again, coming back to the quality, the depth, the length of that breath as you settle in, quite a basic pose. Every time we're in a pose that the body doesn't feel too challenged by, that's an opportunity to focus on how well you're breathing, the quality of your breath, the consistency of the breath, and also you're trying to get the inhale and the exhale of the same quality. So it's easy to often be focusing more on the exhale than the inhale, for instance, but we really want that consistency of breath in both inhale and exhale. And then rocking up to sitting or rolling to the side. Let's come up to sitting, extending the legs out, just reaching forwards, taking a chance to stretch into the spine and the shoulders, as well as the backs of the legs here. And then we'll just swing the legs round and we'll come to cat-cow, and we'll take a few breaths in cat-cow, just moving through those poses.
Sorry, Neil, have you fed tea?
Yeah.
And again, just really working on as full and deeper breath as you can as you move that spine into extension and flexion, pressing the mat away. And just feeling as well where the tightnesses in your spine are through this movement. Maybe for you, there's tightness in the lower back, or maybe it's up in the shoulders or the shoulder blade area. Maybe it's through the neck. I did a bit of Pilates yesterday, so I really feel it as I drop my belly down through my abdominal muscles. So just really kind of moving through the pose and using the posture as an opportunity to just notice what's going on in the body. And then let's press it back into child's pose, stretching the fingertips forwards, maybe resting the forehead down, just relaxing in child's pose, maybe just feeling freedom in the pose, wriggling some space into your body here. And also, of course, being aware of your breath as it settles in this easy recovery pose. And then we'll tuck the toes under and we'll move to down dog. And a chance just to walk out the dog. And again, explore via the pose. Use the pose to explore what's going on in your body. So for me, quite a lot of tightness in the back of the left knee today. And it's so tight in there that I feel that if I pushed things, I could probably injure myself. So that's just a little piece of knowledge that there's a bit of tightness going on in there that I need to be aware of. So in this first section of class, you're really using the postures just to awaken the body, but also to kind of familiarize yourself with your body today, not making assumptions about what your body will be like. Let's just walk the feet towards the hands and come to a hanging forward bend. Just relaxing into the backs of the legs. And just allowing gravity to support us here as well. And then we'll just roll up through the spine, one bone at a time. Coming up to stand, rolling the shoulders back. Just interlacing the hands, lifting and opening through the heart. Releasing any tightness in the chest. This will allow us to breathe more fully through the ribs and the chest. And then moving the same way into the upper back, pressing the palms away. Good. And then let's have a quick shake out. And we're going to move through some gentle standing twists today, swinging twists. So these twists, really we're using momentum to take the spine into the twist, allowing the arms to rock freely as well. This will create some space in the shoulders. Good, and then we'll come to the front of the mat and we'll just reach the arms up and just explore the sides of the body as you reach your fingertips away. Just feeling length into the waist and up into the armpits and right through your arm lines. Using, again, that posture to explore where your tightness in the side lines, the lateral lines of the body are today. And taking a side bend. So again, I'm noticing my Pilates here. My obliques are quite tight after working them yesterday. Again, just exploring your range of movement in this opening section of class. Let's go the other way. And then gently coming up, shaking that out. We're going to move through a couple of rounds of sun salutation. We'll take the first round nice and slow. My camera keeps dipping down. I keep pushing it up. Let me just tighten it again. I think it's because it's not tight enough, this tripod. There we go. Right, stay like that, you cheeky thing. Right, so let's come to the front of the mat. We'll take the first one quite slow so that we can just work into hip flexors and quads with our lunges. We haven't done that in our warm-up. So just settling into your breath here, just reset for a moment. I'll be mirroring you. I'm at a slightly odd angle, but I will still be mirroring. Let's inhale, float the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. We'll step the right leg back. We'll drop that knee and we'll just settle into a low lunge to begin with. Hips sinking down, chest lifting up, shoulders rolling down and away, making sure you're maintaining that length through the neck. And then just using the out breath to explore into the hips and particularly the front of that right hip, the hip flexor. Just noticing where there's tightness there, either too much movement or too much sitting can cause tightness there. For instance, cardio, running, biking, that sort of action walking can really tighten the hip flexor, but so too can sitting too much, because that of course shortens the hip flexor. So just exploring that tightness in there and encouraging it to lengthen out. And then you can either add in that twist as you reach the left arm away, or you can add in a quadricep stretch, getting into the front of the thigh, but still finding that rotation. So whether you're grabbing the back foot or not, really pulling the top shoulder back and rolling the bottom shoulder forwards and getting twists through the spine, just settling into your breath there. Good, let's step back to our first plank. So you can always modify your planks. I think most of you are sort of full plank kind of people, or quite advanced, but if for any reason you want to modify your planks, shoulder issues or just tightness in the spine, just drop the knees at any time. Otherwise, you can press the mat away and really work into your lats, pulling your shoulders away from your ears, picking up your kneecaps and pressing the heels away. Just slightly tilt your pelvis and pull your belly button in so that you really feel strength through the core. Just settle into your breath there. And then we'll drop the knees, chest, and hover the chin and work the triceps before we release to the floor, and then tops of the feet down. And we'll just come to a baby cobra. We're going to hold this baby cobra. Really think about rolling the shoulders back. So squeezing the shoulder blades down towards your kidneys, but also in towards each other. So squeezing the shoulder blades down and in, creating a bit of length through the neck. And then, oh, that made me jump. And then just see if you can lift your hands and come up another inch and just holding the back muscles there. Great, let's press it back into child and use this as an active child's pose. So as you reach the fingertips forwards, really lengthening into your lats, tiptoe those fingers all the way as far as you can forwards and just feel that length through the back muscles. Soften your breath. Great, let's tuck the toes and move to downward facing dog. And again, we'll just find a pedal through the heels here, just bending one knee at a time and lengthening the back of the legs, finding that breath. And then we'll swing that right leg through and we'll come to those stretches on the other side, sinking the hips down, rolling those shoulders down, squeezing the shoulder blades away, and then just focusing on the tightness through the front of the left hip, lengthening it out with your breath. And then either just adding in a twist as you raise the right arm or reaching back to add a quad stretch in. Taking the breath into that tightness through the front of the thigh. And let's release and step it forwards. Take our hanging forward bend. Begin to take it a little bit more actively now as you reach the hands for the legs and start to pull yourself deeper into the stretch, feeling everything begin to lengthen out. Good, let's release that roll up through the spine, one vertebra at a time, coming up to stand, roll the shoulders back, and then inhale, reach the arms up and bring the hands to the heart. Why it's dropped again. Very annoying. Let's try and keep you there. Okay, right, let's move through the left side and we'll take some pulses on this side. Inhaling, the arms lift up. Exhale, forward fold, stepping the left leg back, dropping the knee down. Let's take 3 pulses. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, pulsing down. 2 more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, pulse. 1 more. Get nice and deep into this lunge now as you exhale. Hold it there as you take your inhale. And then we'll exhale, hands to the floor. Let's step to that plank. Just settle into your plank again, really feeling that engagement through the core and through the shoulder girdle. Breathing. And then pushing through the toes, knees, chest, hover, chin. Take a moment in knees, chest, chin just to feel the triceps activated before you release down to the floor. This time we'll take a higher cobra, keeping the fingertips back, lifting the shoulders, it's not lifting the shoulders, rolling the shoulders down, lifting the chest, opening into the front of the heart space, making sure you don't lock your elbows straight or allow the pubic bone to lift off the floor. Take a breath there. And then we'll push back, stretching out the lats into a more active child's pose as you lengthen into the upper back, mid-thoracic. Settle the breath. Tucking the toes into down dog. Let's find our pulse in down dog this time. Inhale, reaching the heels up to the sky. Exhale, squeezing heels away. Let's take 2 more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, pulse. 1 more. And then either drop the knees to step the left foot through, or maybe swing it to land between the hands, dropping the back knee, or take our 3 pulses here. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, pulse the hips down. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale, pulse. 1 more. Get nice and deep into that lunge. Just take a breath or 2 there, stretching into the front of the hip flexor. And we'll release. Good, let's step the back foot forwards as you inhale, flat back, look up. Exhale, forward bend. So make it a nice active stretch, easing yourself deeper into your forward fold. Then we'll release and we'll roll up 1 vertebra at a time up to stand. Inhaling, the arms lifting up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Just take a couple of breaths there. Grab a drink if you need to. I believe it's dropped again. Clearly I'm not tightening the right button. Put it there. That one. That one. Okay. So we're going to move through 2 more rounds of sun salutation. And again, we'll just take it steady, and I really want you to focus on getting some real sort of depth out of the poses and really exploring how the pose makes the body feel. So we'll bring the hands to the heart, take a couple of breaths to just reconnect here. And then we'll inhale, the arms lifting up. Exhale, folding the hands to the floor. We'll take the right leg back, drop the knee, and inhale into the low lunge. And this time we're going to find a twist in it. So bringing the hands to the heart, rotate the shoulder girdle first, trying to peel the left elbow back so that it almost lines up with your back foot. And then leaning forwards, hooking elbow outside knee. And then just take a moment to really press elbow into knee to find even more twist into the spine. Just taking a breath or two there. And then let's float the arms up on the inhale. And as we exhale, hands down to the floor. Let's step to plank. So if you want to work a little harder through your yoga tonight, you can really start to work through high planks now you're a bit warmer. Pressing the mat away, getting that lift through the upper back. Sucking the belly in, just tucking the pelvis under slightly. Lifting the knees, pressing the heels away. Take a breath or two there. And then either knees, chest, chin, or moving to chaturanga if you prefer. Releasing down, finding either cobra or upward facing dog. Take a breath in your back bend, just softening into the spine. And then we'll press back into child and use child's pose just to reset the body and the breath once again. And then we'll tuck the toes under. You can either take another pulse of 3 breaths here, or you can come to a single-legged dog, lifting the right leg high and then pulsing just the left heel. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, squeezing down. 2 more. Inhale, lift. Exhale down. 1 more. And then just pause in your single-legged dog and explore the posture in your body for a moment. Where's the resistance for you? If you're in single dog, it'll probably be in the left hamstring attachment into the left side pelvis. Or maybe it's through the shoulders as you wait there on just 3 limbs. Lifting that knee as high as you can, just explore the opening through the hips. And then just notice your breath as well. And then if you can, you're going to swing that right leg all the way back between the hands. And we'll drop the back knee and we'll come up into our twist on this side. So bringing the hands to the heart, make sure the lunge is deep first, and then really get that twist, trying to get your back elbow almost level with your back toes in your vision, and then just leaning forwards to hook that elbow outside the knee. And then again, just finding that pressure, elbow pushing against the knee, and you should feel that move into a deep twist through the spine. Keep the belly lifting off the thigh, engaging through the core, and then just settle into your breath and explore deepening the pose. Explore the quality of your breath. And then slowly bringing both hands up and finding that lunge again before we release the hands to the floor. Let's step the back foot forwards and fold into a deeper forward bend here, making it more active, lengthening into the hamstrings even more, softening the breath. We'll release and we'll roll up bone by bone through the spine. Inhaling, lifting the arms up. Exhaling, hands to the heart. Good, let's do the left side. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, forward fold. And we'll step the left leg back. This time we're going to come up to a crescent moon lunge here. So floating the arms up. You're going to sink the hips even lower, feeling that deep stretch now through the hip flexor, and then just lift your heart up as you begin to reach the hands back. So it only needs to be a gentle back bend. It will increase the stretch through the hip flexor at the front. You'll also notice it right through the front line of the body. But I want you to make sure that your core stays strong so that you're supporting your lower back even as you hold that back bend. As you begin to warm up, you may feel you can drop back a little deeper into your back bend, just listening to your spine and particularly your neck here. And then we'll release the hands to the floor, step it back to plank, Just find either that high plank or regular plank, feeling that strong engagement through the core and the shoulders. Steady your breath. And then moving knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Moving to up dog or cobra. And again, just take a breath in your up dog or your cobra to just feel the spine softening, explore how much extension you can find in your spine. And then when you're ready, push it back into child's pose. And then we'll move it to downward facing dog. And once again, you can either pulse both heels here, or you can lift the left leg and just focus on pulsing through the right heel as you inhale, and then exhale, squeeze it down. 2 more like that. Inhale, float, right heel, exhale, squeeze down. 1 more. And then just explore your single-legged dog here. Explore reaching up through the top leg, opening into the hips, pressing down through the bottom heel, noticing where there's resistance, where there's tension, seeing if you can soften with your breath. And then swinging the back leg through, coming back to our low lunge, back knee down. And we'll find that back bend in low lunge on this side. So floating the arms up first, and then get that sink through the hips, the lift through the heart, the support through the core to give your lower back integrity, even as you reach into your back bend. And then gently coming back up, releasing the hands to the floor. Let's step that back foot in and take a really nice, strong forward fold. So you may want to catch a hold of your big toes in this one, or take the hands under the feet and just get a bit deeper into your stretch. And then we'll release, and pulling the belly in, we'll roll up 1 vertebra at a time, coming up to stand. Look, my camera's dropped all the way again, inhaling, arms up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Just close your eyes and take a couple of deep breaths there. Just refocusing how the body feels after that yoga, how those poses have felt in the body. And just resetting. And then a little shake out, grab a drink if you want. Okay, so we're going to move through some standing poses. It will turn into a flow eventually, but we'll take it quite steadily today and just really notice how the poses feel each time we move from one to the other. So yeah, noticing really the transitions as well. It's one thing to be in a pose for a while and to really ground into it, but also being very conscious about how you move between poses from one to the other. So starting at the front of the mat, let's inhale the arms up, and we'll exhale the hands down to the floor. We'll step back to warrior 1. So stepping the right leg back and just placing the heel down so the heels are in line with each other, bending that front knee, making sure please that your feet don't cross, so you've really got space to try and bring those hips round. Take a moment to get your headlamps forward. You've got a torch in each shoulder and in each hip, and you're trying to push all 4 to shine forwards. And then just see if you can lunge a little deeper into the front knee. Keep the chest lifting and the shoulder blades squeezing towards each other and also down into your kidneys. We're going to put a pulse here, see if we can deepen this pose a little. Inhale, coming out of it. Exhale, squeezing down. And 2 more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, pulsing. Take 1 more. And if you can see yourself in your camera, can you get a 90-degree angle in your front knee? Can you get that thigh perpendicular to the floor? Can you keep that back knee lifted, the back heel pressing down, the shoulders away from the ears? Take another breath here. I want you to really feel that work in the thigh. And then we'll open it to Warrior Two. So again, just adjust your Warrior Two here, making sure that the heels are lined up or your front heel is dissecting the back foot, so in line with the inner arch. Make sure that you've got your arms not wonky, but level, and your shoulder blades, again, squeezing inwards. So instead of extending your arms out, you're actually drawing your shoulders in as you reach your fingertips out. And then we'll put a pulse in here to try and deepen the Warrior Two as well. Inhale, a little relief as you come up. Exhale, dropping deeper. Let's take 2 more. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, pulsing. Let's take 1 more. And as you sink down into Warrior Two, I really want you to fix this knee over the little toe, to draw those shoulders back into the midline, and to really notice your back heel, the foundation of the pose. Also, are you at a right angle with the front knee? Is your thigh perpendicular? Are you feeling that stretch through the inner thighs? I know things are aching, they should be. When we slow things down, it's often a little harder. Let's take another breath here. Great, and then we'll move it straight to Parsvakonasana, so either elbow to knee or hand slides to the floor. And then really reaching, taking the fingertips over the ear. Again, if you've got your camera on, you can really notice whether your arm is an extension of your leg. So you're just drawing one long diagonal line. You're not dropping your arm or lifting your arm too much to lose that lovely line. Take another breath here. And maybe if your neck feels comfortable, just lift your gaze towards your fingertips. And then just tuck your chin in towards your armpit. 1 more breath here. And then we'll circle the arm down and we'll find long Trikonasana. So you're not going to step the back foot in for a regular length Trikonasana. You can either rest your fingertips on the floor on a block or rest your hands on your shin, but you will feel that the legs are too long here. And then just really focus on finding the grip in your feet to keep your legs secure here. And then reaching the top hand up and pressing the bottom hand down, getting length through the arm lines. Take another breath here. Good, and then we'll circle both hands down to the floor and lift the back heel and just sink down into your lizard lunge for a moment. You can come to the elbows if there's space in your hips to do so. And then we'll step that front foot to plank or single-legged plank if you want a bit more of a challenge. Take a couple of breaths here, feeling the core working strong, belly pulled in. And then knees, chest, chin or chaturanga, and into your up dog or cobra. And again, just settle in your back bend for a breath or 2. We do a lot of forward bending in yoga, so it's really nice to counteract it with the back bends, just by holding them a little longer as we flow through them. And then let's just take that child's pose. If your shoulders feel tight, you can thread your child and get a bit of a shoulder opener here. Then moving to down dog. Let's take a pulse with the heels, either both heels down or right leg lifting up into single dog and pulsing just the left heel. Just move at your own pace here, feeling the breath, Feeling the stretch, familiarizing the pose in your body. And then we're stepping back to warrior one. So right foot comes to right hand, back heel down. Make sure the feet aren't crossing. The front knee bends as you float up to that nice strong warrior one. So as we did on the other side, taking a moment to turn your headlamp forwards and squeeze your shoulder blades down and towards each other. And then just settling into your breathing for a moment. And then we'll take a pulse to get a little deeper into our warrior. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, pulsing down. Take 2 more. Inhale up. Exhale, pulse. And now just see if you can really get down into that lunge, getting that right angle in the front knee, the thigh perpendicular to the floor, the headlamps shining forwards, shoulders away from the ears. And then come back to the quality of your breath whilst everything is shaking and burning. See if you can breathe as if it's just a walk in the park. And then we'll open to warrior two. So again, your foot either intersecting the back foot or heels lined up. And then we can sink nice and deep into our warrior two. Squeeze the knee over the little toe, get the arms level and the shoulders pulling back into the midline. Pulling the back hip back. And then we'll deepen the warrior two with a pulse. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, pulsing down. Let's take 2 more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, pulsing down. Let's take 1 more. And then get nice and deep into warrior two. Again, trying to get that right angle in the front knee. The belly pulls in, pelvis tucks. Find that steady, conscious flow of breath. And then either elbow to knee or hand to floor as you sweep the top arm over. So again, just turning the gaze towards the fingertips, but at the same time, tucking the chin slightly into the armpit and drawing the shoulders back to the mid-spine. Breathe there. Circle the top arm down, and as it comes up, straighten into long Trikonasana. Get the arms stacked, the top hip pulling back, fingertips either resting on the floor or hand to shin, but try not to dump too much weight into the lower hand. Try and maintain a core connection and a lift through the waist that means that there's not too much weight in your right fingertips. And then we find lizard lunge, picking up the back heel and sinking down to the elbows if you wish. And then coming up, we'll step the back foot forwards. And if you're a bit tired here, you want a few breaths, just passive forward fold. Otherwise, either grabbing toes or hooking the feet or just grabbing a hold of the shins or ankles and easing yourself into that deeper forward bend. And then we'll release the hands and take a roll up through the spine. Coming up, rolling the shoulders back and just lifting and opening the heart. And then shake everything out. Can you all still hear me? I just felt like my earbuds switched off there. Can't see or hear anyone. Let me just move over. Give me that. You can still hear me? Good. Yeah. I just thought suddenly I'd lost my battery or something. The sound suddenly changed. Good. Okay. So there is one more flow, but we won't put it in this week because otherwise we won't have time for anything else. So we'll add that in next week. I'd like to get down to the seated work. Actually, no, let's put our tree in. Let's put our balance poses in, but we won't do the second half of the flow this week. So we're going to move from tree pose to figure 4, which is when you cross your ankle over your knee. And then we're going to start to drop into a good glute stretch, maybe the hands moving to the floor. And the option for toe stand is there. I won't demonstrate, my knees and hips feel a bit tight at the moment. So if your balance is a little bit shaky, I'd really like you to be near a wall for this one. We have done this before in previous months. The reason being is that once you're in this sort of position with the knee turning out, if you fall out of it, it can really damage the knee if you fall badly. So tree's not so worrying, but the moment you start to cross the ankle over the knee or move towards a half lotus pose, you don't want to be falling out of the pose because that can really hurt the outside of the knee. So if you are a bit shaky, or if you just want to be, you know, a little bit more secure, just be near a wall. You don't need to use it, but it's there if you suddenly feel like you're going to lose your balance. And it's also nice if you're moving down from figure 4 to actually walk your fingertips down the wall, because if you can't reach the floor, you've still got something to rest on, and you can get quite deep into it without worrying about trying to hold your balance. So we'll start with tree pose. We're going to pick up the right leg. Now, just a reminder that tree can be very low or it can be very high, but please don't push on the knee. So don't place the foot on the inside of the knee there. Once you've found your appropriate height, you're just going to fix your gaze on a point on the floor just to find that balance. And then the hands can come to the heart and you can just focus on the core and the standing leg, pressing energy out through the bottom foot and finding your balance. And if you're comfortable with your balance, you've got the option lifting the arms up. If you're still comfortable, side tree, bending tree. Coming back the way you went in, if you need a quick break, you can release that foot. Otherwise, move straight to figure 4. So this is just like the glute stretch we do in our warm-up when you cross the ankle over the knee and you begin to bend your standing leg to get into this buttock on the right side. And you can begin to walk your hands down the wall or take the hands to the floor to get deeper into that buttock stretch. So it feels a bit like pigeon. You're just easing into the tightness in the buttock there. If you want to go into toe stand, actually I feel like I've warmed up a bit now. You sit down onto your heel and then attempt to find your balance. You might be able to bring the hands to prayer. But again, this isn't a pose you want to fall out of, so just be easy with it. Don't go too far, keep your hands down, because if you do fall out of it, the knee can flick and it can feel rather uncomfortable. And then slowly making your way back towards toe stand, back up towards figure 4, slowly coming up to stand, and then just releasing, and just be gentle as you shake out the legs, because again, that hip and that knee just want a moment to undo that rotation before we move to the other side. So finding tree pose, left leg. It doesn't have to be the same level as the right side. We're not going to be exactly the same on both sides. So if you feel like one side is higher than the other, that's normal. It just means you've got a little bit of an imbalance in your hips, which again is very normal. Once you've found your balance, fixed the gaze, you can soften into your breathing here. And if you wish, you can float the arms up. And maybe take a bending tree as you reach the left hand past the left knee. Whoa. This tree's gone over in the gale. And then slowly coming up the way you went in and easing your way into figure 4. So ankle over the knee, you can maybe walk down your wall and go as far as you feel comfortable. You want to try and bend that standing leg as much as you can to get into the left side glute and buttock and hip. And you can attempt toe stand as well if you wish. And then coming out of it with as much control as you went in to protect those knees. And then just releasing and gently shaking out. Good. So we'll move down to our seated poses now. So let's inhale the arms, lifting up, exhale, fold hands to the floor. Inhale, half lift. Let's step back to our plank. So we're going to take a few shoulder strengthening exercises here. If you want to drop the knees and just sit back a bit, I'll demonstrate. You're going to go plank, chaturanga, plank, down dog. Or that can look plank, knees, chest, chin, push up, lift the knees, back to plank, and then to dog. So we'll just do 3 rounds, plank, chaturanga, plank, dog, or dropping the knees each time. So starting in your downward facing, let's come plank, chaturanga, plank, dog. 2 more, plank, chaturanga. Keep the elbows in at the sides. Make sure it's a tricep push up and not a chest one. And then we'll drop. If you threaded your child in that sun salutation we did earlier, you can take the opposite arm under, because I didn't do the other side this evening. So this time coming to forearm plank. And from forearm plank, you're just going to push forwards and back, forwards and back. So you come over the wrist and then back a bit. And we'll just take a few rounds of that. Now, if you need to drop the knees, you can still do a little movement forwards and back with the knees on the floor. Let's take a couple more. Keep squeezing the shoulder blades down and together. And then just drop the knees and push it back into your child's pose. Make it an active stretch by tiptoeing the fingers forwards and lengthening the lats out. And then cat through tunnel. So just having your hands wide apart, you're going to come to lie on your belly, keeping your nose as low as you can, elbows bend out to the side. Take the support into the shoulder girdle and come down onto your tummy. We're going to take a couple of rounds of Ashtanga Locust. So the first variation, you're going to have your hands alongside your body, bring your feet together. And then as you inhale, you're going to reach your fingertips back, but keep the hands on the floor. Your shoulder blades are drawing down your back and towards each other. And then pointing through the toes, lift the legs with straight knees. Still the hands are down though. Now see if you can lift through the heart a little bit more. Lift the feet a little bit more. Breathe 3 and 2 and 1. Release, just resting the cheek on the hand and softening the hips from side to side. A couple of breaths. And then we'll do the same pose, but this time we'll have the hands underneath the shoulders. Now make sure that your fingertips are back in line with your shoulder heads. And then we'll start with the upper body lifting. Don't press into the hands. Make sure the hands are soft here. The shoulders are rolling back and the blades down. And then pointing through the toes, get the legs high, and then see if you can lift up even more through the upper body. Lift the hands, make sure the back is doing the work. Breathe 3, 2, 1. Coming down, taking the opposite cheek to the floor. Good, and then we'll do one more variation of locust, interlacing the hands. You're going to press the knuckles back towards your heels to lift the upper body as high as you can, and then lifting the feet, squeezing the glutes, get the legs up. Breathe 3, breathe 2, breathe 1, release. We'll push it back into child's pose. And then just coming up to kneeling, we're going to tuck the toes under, stretch out the plantar fascia, pushing the knees forwards, releasing into the foot stretch. And then we'll just swing the legs around and come to sitting. Just free the legs out in front of you, give them a quick wriggle out. Make sure the blood flow feels comfortable through the legs. We're going to reverse fold the right leg. Now, if your knees are tricky here, just grab yourself a block or a pillow or a cushion, stick it under your left buttock. The other thing you can do in this pose is take the knees wide. This will give a bit more space to this knee. And if it really does feel uncomfortable, you can turn it into a Janu Shirshasana pose by turning the knee the other way. This can be a little bit harsh on the knees, so just listen to how it feels for you. Otherwise, you'll reverse fold the right knee. You'll have the toes pointing backwards if possible. If not, out to the side is also an alternative. And then lift and lengthen for a moment and just notice the weight in your hips. Very likely your weight will be more in your left sit bone than your right. So without creating distress to the right knee, just see if you can press down a little through the right sitting bone to try and even yourself out a little bit. And then get that length by picking the rib cage out of the hips. And then you can walk the hands down the left leg to the left foot and begin to fold into a hamstring stretch. Now, whilst folding forwards over the hamstring of the left side, I want you to return your awareness into that right sit bone and just see if you can equally press down through your sitting bones. And then just be in the pose, just breathe in it. Notice where the resistance is. If you can let go of the discomfort, if you can deepen into it without causing yourself any pain, you definitely don't want to go into pain, just softening into those tightnesses. And then gently coming back up, you're going to release and just bending the left leg. See if you can catch the left foot in both hands. And see if you can come to a right angle or a straight leg through the left side. If there's any pain in the knee, you can release the leg, turn it the other way, or open the knee to the side a little bit. Otherwise, see if you can straighten the left leg, get a hamstring stretch. Try not to collapse too much in your lower back. And then taking the hand to the foot, let's take a twist. Left hand behind the back, rotating the shoulders into rotation of the spine. Good. Final pose here. You are just going to, if you can keep this foot knee reverse folded, do so. You're going to take the knee a little wider and then bring your left foot either into a Janu Shirshasana position or possibly a half lotus pose if that feels appropriate on your knees. And then you want to take your right hand to your left knee and you either take the left hand behind the back or possibly it reaches round for your right hip or your left toe. And then pulling with both hands, you're going to look over your shoulder and breathe into that twist. Again, just explore the pose with your breath. See if you can wring out a few more centimeters just by breathing more deeply into the areas of tightness. And then we'll release. So either just changing sides, or you might want to take a vinyasa just to get the blood flowing back into those joints. Your choice. I always like a vinyasa because my spine can feel a bit icky after a couple of poses. It's nice to release it into a back bend, and then your down dog is your forward bend before you come back to sitting. Straightening the legs out. Let's do that on the other side. So we'll reverse fold through the left leg. Again, just be gentle with the knees. Notice if you need a bit of support under the right hip, whether the knees need to be a little wider apart. And then just take your attention into your sitting bones. Notice that there's probably more weight in the right sit bone, but you want to try and balance that out as much as you're able without putting pressure on the knee. And then lifting your rib cage away from your hips, you can start to crawl the hands down the right leg, looking for that length forward, as well as that even pressing down through the sitting bones. And then slowly coming back up, you're going to bend up your right leg and catch the foot in the hand. See if you can lift the leg, maybe to straight, and then just settle back into trying to equalize the pressure through the sitting bones and to stretch out the right hamstring. And then switching the hands and taking the right hand behind the back and finding that twist. And then we'll release. And you'll just take the left knee, open it out a little to the side. The right foot comes into the inner groin or into the hip crease for half lotus. Your left hand looks for your right knee. The right hand either settles on the floor behind or hooks round for the left hip bone, or possibly the right toe if you're in half lotus. And then use those hands to pull you into the twist. So it's the pulling of the arms that rotates the shoulders round. And then explore the pose with your breath, noticing tightness, noticing resistance, easing into those areas that are holding you back. And then we'll slowly release. And again, you can just straighten the legs out in front, or you can take a vinyasa to free up the body after those postures. So we're just going to finish with a little bit of core work. We'll come up to our bridge pose, reaching the arms out. And you're going to extend one leg and bring it back up and then switch sides. Now, if it's too much to keep, you'll drop both heels and you'll just be lifting one leg at a time. Otherwise, you're extending and lifting back to boat pose each time. Keep the belly pulled in and the core engaged here. The chest lifted, not rounding the back. Let's take 4 more. And then just resting the forehead on the knees and releasing. And then we'll work the obliques. So coming back up to boat pose, all the heels can rest on the floor. Clasping the hands, you're just going to turn from side to side. Trying to keep in your boat pose if you can, so that you're working your lower abs as well as your obliques. If you're feeling more hip flexor than abdominals, just bring the heels together and turn the toes out so the knees come apart slightly. That will take it out of the hip flexor a little. And then just rest the forehead on the knees again. And then coming up to sitting, you're going to slowly roll down, bone by bone, and then stretch the arms and legs away from each other to open out the abs for a minute. And then setting up for bridge, feet flat to the floor, heels close to the hips. Hands by the sides, push the lower back down, roll through the spine. And we're going to spend a few breaths in bridge, walking the shoulders in. Option to grab your heels or interlace your hands, or just keep your palms pressing away. And then you've got a few breaths to explore this pose. You might want to press the hips up by pushing the heels into the earth. You may want to balloon into the chest a little more, lifting through the heart. You may want to raise the hips and lower the hips and feel the glutes activating. So just explore your bridge, feel all the muscles involved in this one pose. And then notice if you can find a quality and consistency of breath in what is a challenging pose to breathe in. And then a slow release down. Just windshield wiper the knees from side to side. And then just take one more round of bridge, or you can take wheel if that's in your practice, by taking the hands at either sides of the ears and then pushing up into either bridge or wheel. And again, just explore what this pose means to you. You can suffer any resistance here in the shoulders or the hips or the hip flexors or into your spine. And then slowly coming down and hug the knees into the chest this time. And we'll just finish this evening with a fish pose. So straightening the legs out in front, press through the elbows, get the chest off the floor, drop the head back and come onto the crown of the head. And then really work on pushing the elbows into the floor to get the chest to lift and open. And really notice how this opens and stretches into your mid-thoracic spine, that area between the shoulder blades. And then gently coming down And we'll finish with a spinal twist. So drawing the right knee into the chest, take it across with the left hand and reach the right hand away. And then we'll switch sides, taking the left knee across in the right hand, and extending that left arm away. And then just making your way either to Shavasana or to your meditation practice if you prefer. Whether you're sitting or lying, just take a moment to really focus on a conscious breath, breathing into the belly, the ribs and the chest. And exhaling from top to bottom. And again, breathing belly, ribs, chest. And then exhaling from top to bottom. And as you take that exhale, just allow any remaining tension to release out of the body, to just sink into the floor. Just let the body connect down into the mat. Let it soften and relax. And then just observe as your body breathes naturally, soft, silent breath in and out. And just maintain this Shavasana for several minutes, trying to keep that mind present to your breath, to the sensations of release through the body. And every time your mind wanders off into thinking, which it will, just guide it gently back to the sensation of breath once again. And I'll leave you there to enjoy your relaxation. Namaste. And I look forward to seeing you all next week.